Have you ever felt like you're just running on a treadmill? You're chasing all the things you're told you should want, but you never really feel like you're getting what you actually need? If you felt that, you're not alone. We're going to break down why that happens and look at a really simple but powerful way to shift your focus back to what truly matters.
The late, great Robin Williams had a phrase for this. He called them weapons of mass distraction. And wow, is that the perfect way to describe our modern world, right? We're constantly being pulled in a million different directions. But the real question is, are any of those directions actually leading us somewhere we want to be? Somewhere we can actually thrive?
Okay, so why do we feel so scattered all the time? Well, it all starts with this one core belief that's kind of running the show in the background of our world. It's called the scarcity mentality, and it is the #1 reason so many of us end up focusing on, well, completely the wrong things.
So what exactly is this scarcity mentality? Basically, it's this deep-seated idea that there just isn't enough to go around. And that belief, that one idea, it fuels a whole system built on hoarding things, on markets and stock exchanges that use algorithms to decide who gets what. And the result of all that? The very things we actually need to live and be well are always kept just out of reach.
And this is where you can really see the disconnect. On one side, you've got marketing culture just pushing this endless stream of stuff on us, creating desires we didn't even know we had, and giving them some kind of algorithmic value. But on the other side, what we as humans actually need is so much simpler. Basic necessities, well-being for everyone, and things that have real, actual value.
All right, so if we've been completely misdirected, how in the world do we find our way back? The answer is actually surprisingly simple. It's all about just cutting through all that noise and getting back to the absolute basics of what it means to be alive. When you strip away all the complexity, all the distractions, what does every single person on this planet truly need? It really just boils down to 4 things: clean air, clean water, healthy food, and a safe place to enjoy it all. That's it. That's the universal foundation for a good life, for anyone, anywhere.
Okay, so if those 4 things are the real goal, how do we start to realign our lives to actually pursue them? Well, it takes a new way of thinking, a kind of framework. Think of it like a simple guide that you can apply to pretty much any problem you're trying to solve. This framework all starts with asking 5 really powerful, really simple questions. They take you all the way from understanding the root of the problem, that scarcity mentality we talked about, to figuring out the resources, the people, and the timing to make a real change. It's all about asking why, how, when, where, and who. So asking those questions, that's the critical first step. But actually putting those answers into practice, that happens along a clear 3-stage path. This is how you take an idea from just a theory and turn it into your actual reality.
So the journey looks like this. First, you got theory. That's where you get clear on the answers to those 5 big questions. Then you move into experience, where you start applying that theory in a real-world setting, hopefully with some support. And finally, you manifest. You take everything you've learned and start building it for real, on your own terms.
And this is where it all comes together. Because using this framework isn't just about changing the things you do. It's about fundamentally changing how you see things, about what you believe is even achievable in the first place. For so many of us, the idea of a life truly centered on these core necessities can feel just like this word: big, solid, unchangeable, like a giant wall that we just can't get past. But when you shift your perspective, when you look at it just a little bit differently, you realize the solution was right there the whole time. It's not about trying to break down some impossible wall. It's about that little internal click, that realization that says, wait, I'm possible. We have the power to make this happen.
And that's really what this all boils down to. The journey might feel personal, but the destination, the goal, is completely universal. When we finally cut through all that noise and all those manufactured wants, we find the shared human truth. Deep down, we're all after the same basic things.
So, in the end, it really comes down to a choice. A choice to consciously shift your focus away from the distractions and toward the essentials. So with this framework in mind and maybe a new perspective, the only question left is for you. What will you make possible?